I've had my iPhone X since launch day, so 3.5 months. And one of the most immediately noticeable differences, if you haven't felt this phone, other than obviously the massive display and the notch, is the heft of the thing when you feel it in your hand. And that is thanks to the new stainless steel frame, which has replaced the aluminum that's been used in, well, I guess with the exception of iPhone 3G and 3GS, every iPhone ever. And the new stainless steel frame, in my opinion, is an excellent change. It's far grippier than the notoriously slippery aluminum of iPhones past, and it's also far more rigid. And I know that because of experience. Last night, I saw Black Panther, great film, but what I'm getting to is I dropped my iPhone X for the third time. 3 times I've dropped it, all 3 times on concrete, and the phone hasn't broken yet. Now, with iPhones past, that may have been a problem because aluminum is soft. So not only would you dent the corner of your phone when you drop it, but you'd also, because the aluminum would buckle, it would oftentimes push a lot of the force through the display, and so your glass would crack as well. And that's not the case with iPhone X because of the rigid metal chassis. If you drop it glass down, you're still screwed. But if you drop it on the corner, it probably won't break. And the increased durability and stickiness and heft, they're all great changes to iPhone. I think it's exceptional. But it's not perfect, because polished stainless steel scratches very, very easily. In fact, the top of my phone, where I put my phone face down into my pocket, where it rubs against my pocket liner, is so scratched that it doesn't even really shimmer anymore. It looks really bad. Now, the good news is that I can fix this problem pretty easily, but only because my phone is silver. Space Gray users, you're out of luck, because rather than opt for a diamond-like carbon, aka DLC coating, that's used on many high-end jewelry pieces and manufacturing equipment, Apple opted for a cheaper and older coating method called physical vapor distillation, also known as PVD. Not really important. Long story short, what I'm going to do in this video is essentially strip off a tiny layer of that scratched stainless steel and then buff it back to a shine. And unfortunately, because Space Gray phones are covered in this very thin layer of PVD coating, doing this procedure will strip the finish away and result in something that looks like this. Not good. In fact, if you have a Space Gray iPhone, keep it in a dang good case, because not only does it scratch just as easily as the silver model, but also permanently, irreversible. But unlike you Space Gray sad sacks, I got silver, so I'm fine. All I needed was some metal polish cream. Now, there are a lot of brands out there. They're all relatively inexpensive, but I've linked a few of the best options in the video description below. I used kind of a middle-of-the-road Blue Magic. It was $7, pretty inexpensive, and it worked excellently. All you need to do is open up the jar and apply some of the rubbing compound to your microfiber cloth. And you don't need too much, just enough. And then you start buffing in a side-to-side action. Now, I know some of you are going to freak out saying, oh, the glass! Don't worry, because the abrasive is so fine, I didn't mask off the frame, and it didn't cause any damage to the glass, to the oleophobic coating, or even to the little tiny plastic antenna lines meshed into the steel. It looks fine. In fact, given that the phone is water-resistant, I didn't even worry about crap getting stuck in the buttons, or the speaker, or the mic ports, or the mute switch, because I figured I would just wash it out later. So once you're going at it for a while, your rag's going to start to get black. And don't worry, that's good news. Once you've kind of polished the phone with the buffing compound for about 60 to 90 seconds, you're going to want to get a clean part of your microfiber towel and start buffing it in a probably circular motion to a shine. Now, you'll likely find that when you're polishing the device, you have to apply quite a bit of pressure. You have to push pretty hard. Don't be afraid to do so. But after a few coats, so to speak, I don't know what to call it. I did it I did about 2 to 3 times in each section of the phone. You'll start to notice that the phone really starts to look excellent. And I was stunned at how good it looked. And then when I was done, there was some gunk stuck in the microphone port and in the mute switch, and I just washed it out under the sink with a little bit of a toothbrush. And boom, it looks gorgeous. Now, of course, there are still going to be a few tiny scratches that are visible, and if I was really antsy about getting it perfect, or if I intended to sell it and wanted it to look brand new, you can actually use a Dremel rotary tool with a few different buffing and polishing accessories with the same rubbing compound instead of a microfiber towel. And you'll get it back to, like brand new. But I didn't worry about it because I figured it was 95% of the way there, good enough. And because I'll probably have to do it again in a few months, I figured why fret about it. So get started, it's easy. And if you're going to buy a $1,000 plus smartphone, you should probably keep it looking nice. Annoying scratches aside, they are annoying. I do think that the pros of the stainless steel over aluminum far outweigh the cons, and I'm hoping that Apple expands the steel to their entire smartphone lineup later this year. Well, folks, that's all for me. To get your materials and other stuff, check my links in the video description below. Get subscribed for more awesome videos like these.